Good evening, VV Nation, and welcome to the channel. My name is Glenn, Senior Stock Market Strategist for VectorVest. Glad to be here, glad to have you here. And again, welcome to the channel. I'm going to talk about a stock that's hot on a lot of people's minds, BigBear.ai, BBAI, a stock that's just been moving. They got a new contract, the whole 9 yards, and people have asked me, hey, what do you think of BBAI? Well, tonight I'm going to give you an honest assessment utilizing the VectorVest system to understand, is it still or is it a buy right now? So I got a lot of things that I want to bring to the table, and we're going to start off with looking at the company itself. So I went to their website, BigBear.ai, clarity for the world's most complex decisions. I like that, how it comes out that way. I just goes down and says a higher form of decision intelligence. Sounds a lot like Palantir, and a lot of people are saying, is this the next Palantir? We're going to see. Scroll down, revolutionizing national security, digital identity, and supply chain management. Again, sounds a lot like what Palantir does. And going down, government and defense, travel and transportation, manufacturing and warehouse operations, healthcare and life sciences. They cover a lot from an AI perspective. So now let's go to the next story. Looking at Yahoo Finance, Big Bear Holdings. This is an article talking about several AI stocks. This happens to be their #1 stock for the story. It's an artificial intelligence specialist that provides decision intelligence. Again, sounds a lot like Palantir. Solutions for national security, digital identity, supply chain, and logistics. Pretty much took it right from its website. Big Bear tops our list of best performing AI stocks in 2025. That's a bold statement. The stock has rallied a whopping 102% year to date on February 5th. Cantor Fitzgerald analysts more than doubled their price target on the stock to $8 from $3.50. That's a positive thing. Target on the back of impressive contract win and some board changes. A lot of the news surrounding the Big Bear AI stock is this contract. Whereas a company like Palantir has gotten several contracts globally. All right, and again on the story, Big Bear AI shares rise more than 38% on a US DoD contract. So as I looked more and more into the stock, the more I got out of it was the contract, the Department of Defense contract was what really was driving the stock. And the last story here is it hits a new 52-week high. This came from Motley Fool. This is February 13th. After winning a government contract, can it go even higher? So again, a lot of the news is really being concentrated on this contract. Now, is the contract enough to keep the stock rising, or because of the contract or people and the move up, are people willing to take the profit on the stock? So that's what we're going to get into. Again, a lot of the news centers around it's an AI stock that's got a contract. All right, let's move over to the software. I'm going to move over to the software right now, and from here I put several other stocks. We're concentrating on BBAI, but of course, you got to have NVIDIA in there. I got Palantir in here. And the other two stocks, MBIS and Tempest AI, were recent investments by NVIDIA into these companies. Now, we know that NVIDIA has got a lot of clout. It does carry a lot of clout. But noticing as I scroll over, a lot of this is all AI and software driven. So I wanted to put a couple of other peers on here to really dive into, is BBAI still a stock that you want to get into after its meteoric rise? Stock is trading at $8.60 with a value of 34 cents. That's a big no-no in my book. But wait a minute. Palantir is trading at $122 with a value of $903. The difference between the two, again, Palantir has got a lot more contracts than BBAI has, but could this start to be the come up for BBAI if they start getting more contracts? Maybe. Of course, NVIDIA is in here. It's gotten beaten up. It's now undervalued. Looking at Nebius Group, one of the companies that NVIDIA invested in, overvalued, and Tempest also overvalued. So with the exception of NVIDIA, all of these stocks are overvalued. Hopefully you did see my video over the weekend talking about how to find the best overvalued stocks to get into. And someone posted in the comments, said, why wasn't Palantir on there? Well, one of the things that I was looking for in an overvalued stock was relative value to be above 1. Notice that Palantir didn't make the list because relative value was below 1. I think that there's a lot more mitigating circumstances behind Palantir's move other than what's going on with BBAI. So again, I wanted to put a little bit of twist in here as to give a better understanding of if BBAI was still worth the investment. All right, I'm going to go over to the graphs real quick. From a graph perspective, I got a performance graph, and I'm looking at, there it is, BBAI. Let me move this over. Look at that. That's over the last year. Nice move on BBAI from a performance level. Let's go put on NVIDIA. It's outperforming NVIDIA over the last year. MBIS, the NVIDIA play, how about it's outperforming NVIDIA as well, but not as much as BBAI, TEM, towards the bottom of the list, and we're going to look at Palantir. Wow, Palantir again, compare that, saying that BBAI could be the next Palantir. Notice how they track most recently to the upside. Again, more of a positive sign. Let's go back to the Viewers tab. Now, let's go back and see what these stocks have done over the last, up to now, over year to date. From January 2nd until now, let's do a quick test of them. See, all of them have won. Temp is up there. That's the NVIDIA investment. BBAI, 109%. Palantir, 62%. MBIS, 60%. And NVIDIA only up 1.32. But we all know that NVIDIA ain't going nowhere no time soon. Let's do this again. Let's go back year to date. What's today? Today is February 18th. Let's go back to February of 2024. Don't have the 18th. Let's go to the 16th. And let's go do a quick test again. Notice the other two stocks, TEM and NBIS, went away. They weren't around then in the system by that time. Let's do a quick test still of the top three that are here. Palantir, 400%. BBAI, 289%. And NVIDIA, 93%. So everywhere we look at it so far, BBAI seems to be a play that's got momentum. Do you still trust it? Let's go to stream. All right, let's look back at it right now. Notice that Tempest and BBAI, as I record this video, are the two stocks that are down. But I want to take this a step further. Now that we've looked at the momentum, knowing that over the last year, year to date, BBAI has been on the run. And again, a lot of this comes most recently from the contract that they have. Let's take a look, though. Relative value at 0.07 as compared to outperforming the market or the AAA corporate bond. Wow, it's way in the doldrums. So is Palantir. Again, though, I believe that there still are mitigating circumstances behind Palantir compared to BBAI. The only stock in the list that's got a relative value above 1 is NVIDIA. Again, and it's undervalued. It's not a glamour stock anymore, but fundamentally sound NVIDIA is, whereas the other four, to include Palantir, are more of a speculative play. But really, Palantir has got a relative safety above 1. This stock normally meets or exceeds its earnings expectations quarter over quarter, year over year. The company's making money. Well, that's known because of the contracts that they've gotten. TEM, not fundamentally sound. In an uptrend, though. BBA, not fundamentally sound. In an uptrend, though. And MBIS, not fundamentally sound, but in an uptrend. So when I look at Palantir compared to BBAI, BBAI is just not making it all for me right now. Now, we have earnings coming up on these stocks. BBAI comes up March 5th. NVIDIA comes up February 26th. MBIS on February 20th. Tempest is coming up on February 24th, and Palantir is not until May. Now, let's look at the graphs. Let's look at the graphs of all of these, and let's take a look. NVIDIA on the comeback, on the rise, bouncing off support, moving up. I needed to break through this level of resistance. Value, undervalued, but value is falling. That causes some concern for me for NVIDIA. MBIS, the NVIDIA investment. Bottom left, top right, new 3-month high. Little wick at the top. Be careful if you're in it. I think that this is being moved by the news, NVIDIA putting money into it. Let's go to the next one. Palantir is just in a class all by itself. It gapped up, never really faded the gap, still sitting at a new 3-month high. Right now, watch the wick at the top. Watch the falling volume. The falling volume is a flag, but not enough for me to get out of it if I'm in it. Tempest, woo! NVIDIA play, big down day. I'd be careful. And it faded the gap right here, too. I'd be careful with it, but I do like the move from this low up, looking at a trend line, and the volume is there. Let's go take a look at BBAI, nicely moving up. Man, now I'm looking at a break of the downtrend, whereas compared to Palantir, Palantir is still moving up. Do I think that BBAI is the next Palantir? Not yet. I think it needs to take more steps. It needs to get more contracts to show that it's making the money and doing it consistently. But you know something? Here's a trend. There's the trend line. Stocks went up. It gapped up, never faded the gap, moving up. But I'm watching the short-term play right now. I'd be careful with BBAI, but I'm not going to give up on it. I will keep my eye on the stock. I'm just not feeling it right now. One other thing, when I'm looking at these stocks, I do want to look at their earnings per share, with earnings coming up on many of these. Earnings per share on MBIS, negative. Earnings per share on Tempest. Again, these are NVIDIA investments, negative. BigBear.ai, negative. Now, I'm going to put these back on a graph again, and I want to see what their earnings per share are doing now. There's NVIDIA earnings per share on the rise, flattening out. Let's go look at MBIS. Wow, look at the big fall in earnings per share, and understanding that earnings is the engine that drives a stock's price higher. Palantir, rising earnings over the last 3 months. Tempest, falling earnings over the last 3 months. And BBAI, falling earnings over the last 3 months. I'm thinking that Tempest and MBIS are moving because of the news behind NVIDIA. I think BBAI is moving because of the most recent contract information. But you know, those three stocks are very speculative. I'd be very careful with them, whereas NVIDIA and Palantir are more solid plays. So the final line, BBAI, next Palantir, I'm not calling it that right now. Negative earnings, falling through the trend line. That's where I stand on BBAI. Am I giving up on it? No. Am I really feeling warm and fuzzy about it right now? The answer is no. Well, make sure you stay tuned to the channel. If you're brand new to the channel, this is the first time you've been here, and you like this content, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you'll be alerted when new videos like this come out. And for those of you who are looking for this video, if this makes sense and at least gives you a better understanding of what or what not to do with the stock, hit the like button. And I'm curious to know, are you buying BBAI? Yes or no? Just put BBAI yes or BBAI no. Put that in the chat. I'd like to clearly see what you think about it. Folks, this video is over. And until the next time, see ya.